Welcome back to Women Who Heal. I'm your host, Natalie Ryan Hebert, and today I'm meeting with Lizzie, who worked with me in the Red Tent program a little while back now, and we're talking about how she's been able to implement the tools from the Red Tent program as she's moved forward through her life and new stuff surfaced along the way. I really hope you enjoy this conversation as much as we enjoyed having it. So, hi Lizzie, thank you so much for coming on and joining me and sharing your story, because our stories are so important.
Thank you.
So I guess the question I always begin with is, where were you when you first came across my work? What was it that drew you to the Red Tent protocol and what I was saying? What was it that I was sharing that resonated with you that made you think, this is for me?
I don't remember exactly how I found you, except that I had been feverishly researching and trying to figure out what was going on. And I knew that it was PMDD, like I had identified that. And so, but I was not at all satisfied with the lack of what felt like real information that was available about PMDD, what it is, what is happening, how to treat it aside from antidepressants. And I was determined, I just knew that there had to be another answer. There had to be a real answer as to what was going on, other than there's something wrong with you. There's something wrong with me, right? Like there had to be a workable answer. And I felt that very deeply. And after months of trying to find answers, somehow I came across your work. So somewhere on the World Wide Web, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And what pulled me in and what made me feel very clear that the Red Tent was the next thing I should do, was the way you described what happens during PMDD experience, being linked to an older trauma. And when I felt that, when I received that, heard it, I don't know if I heard maybe podcast or something you had done, it just clicked. It felt right. I could
Yeah.
feel, because it's such a weird, foreign, almost like takeover feeling when it happens, when you're in that premenstrual phase, and it's much more intense than it had been previously, or whatever the experience is. It's confusing because what you're experiencing in response to what's here and now doesn't feel like it's really from what's here and now. And so hearing you talk about it as being a response to an old trauma being triggered now felt like a key. Like, okay,
Yeah.
that's something. Let's follow that and see where that takes us, because that feels more true than unexplained brain chemistry being different all of a sudden for no reason, or hormonal levels being different, but really they're not different, or whatever these kind of unclear explanations that are out there in kind of the larger medical community.
Yeah.
What you
This,
were saying made a lot more sense.
yeah, that when you talk about it just felt more true. It felt more true. There's a resonance in the body. There's a relief. This is it. This is a nobody else needs to get this, but I do feeling, and where it's just so personal to you that it feels right, and your gut says yes, and your heart says yes, and you say, this is it. I can feel it. This is the answer for me, or this explains so much. I finally feel validated, or I finally feel heard, I finally feel seen. And that's true with anything in life. When you have that, doesn't matter if others don't get it or if it doesn't make logical sense. When you get that, as they say, the full body yes sort of thing, then it's, I think, so important to follow that, because it can lead you. It's trusting yourself to follow that, even when it feels completely new, and it is a leap of faith, but it's faith in your own uh, truth response, I guess, is the best way to explain it. So you had a feeling yes, this is old stuff being pushed upon. As I explain it, I use the metaphor of it being a box of pain that we carry inside that opens up in that luteal phase when the hormones shift, the thinning of the veil, so to speak. We turn inwards, we experience our inner world much more strongly in that phase of the cycle. And anything in that box sort of just floods the system and is just waiting there, ready for something to trigger it off. Looking like the pain body, the way Eckhart Tolle talks about it, like a pain body that is just looking for something to feed on, something to keep itself alive, something to prove itself right and true. Usually things like, I'm not lovable, I'm not good enough, I can't trust myself, I'm not capable, I'm not worthy, I'm not deserving. There's something wrong with me. It's the big one. And I always say the only thing wrong with you is that you think there's something wrong with you. That's the only thing. And if we can get to that and rewrite it and understand how it got there, then everything changes. So it resonated, and you decided, okay, I'm going to do this work with Natalie, with me. What happened next?
Um, so put the pieces in place and signed up and waited. At that time, it was like a cohort, right? So there was a time frame, and so waited for it to begin. And I did the one-on-one hypnosis sessions with you, which I found to be very powerful. Really helped me to hone in on what those kind of original traumas, or I mean, they do, right? They register as trauma kind of in the body. I hesitate to even really call them traumas because they're so tiny. They're such
It's
these just
such a
teeny tiny little things.
And it's worth us stopping and talking about that, because it's such a stumbling block for people. Like, who am I to call what I've been through trauma when people have been through real trauma? And I understand that. I look back at my childhood and go, come on, it wasn't that bad. But
Right.
this is what keeps us stuck sometimes, is the denial that
Yeah.
doesn't allow us to admit what it is that's left a mark on us. And so they've come up with big T trauma, little T trauma. It doesn't it's not what's happened to you. And I say this a lot, and I bet I've said it in every other episode of this podcast so far. It's not what's happened to you. It's the meaning is what you've made it mean. And that meaning is still carried within you. And so, and then there's always a protective coping strategy set up around that meaning, that painful meaning about yourself or the world that you live in. And so another thing I always say is that our biggest adult problems are our childhood solutions. It's the strategies we've come up with to protect ourselves that are
Mhm.
actually creating the very thing they were set up to prevent, which is crazy, but that's how it works. And it blows my mind every time that I see this mechanism. And I go, but that's only ensuring you're never going to belong. For
Yeah.
example, I know I'll put on a mask so that everybody likes me and then I'll belong. How are you ever going to truly belong even if you did fit in, which often you don't with a mask, because people sense there's something not quite right, and then, oh, I don't know about her. The mask is the thing that is preventing you from true connection, which means you're never going to belong, but it was set up to help you belong. That's just one example I could give you. Every single mechanism we create to
Yeah.
prevent something creates the thing it was set up to prevent. It's really incredible. Like, it feels,
Yeah.
wow, how could this be the way we are, that we work? How have we not evolved out of this? um, so
We're just so young when it happens, and we don't know, and other people don't know. Other people around us don't know that it's happening. And
mm,
you
mm,
said, it's the meaning we make of it. And it's like, it's not the things that happen to us. And the way I want to finish that sentence is, it's the things that happen in us, right?
Mm,
It's like that
mm,
internal response to what's
mm,
happening
mm,
that nobody else can see.
mm,
We
mm.
don't know how to say what's just
That's right.
happened to us. We don't understand. And so, especially if it's happening at a young age or in a traumatic moment where we're dissociated, and it how are we don't know. How are we to
Mm.
know to work that out or to get our needs met, or it's just part of
Yeah.
this game that we're doing here, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, we're so little and we are confused and we have to make sense of it because we don't like the confusion. And then
Yeah.
the sense we make of it is the sense that a 2-year-old can make of it, or a baby in the womb even who doesn't even have who's pre-verbal and doesn't even have words for it. It's and this sort of stuff goes on to direct our life until we become conscious of it. Um, so you're talking about the things that you went back to are seemingly, I mean, we get this a lot, that they're
Yeah.
seemingly so insignificant. And I had one that comes to mind was a client who went back to a scene where she was helping her mother hang out the washing, and she dropped one of the pegs, and her mum said, "Oh, never mind." And she took the peg basket from her and continued to do the job without her daughter's help. Totally, like, could happen to anyone any day of
Right.
the week. It could be any mum who's like, "I don't have time, like, just it's okay, give it to me." That
Yeah.
was that left a mark. That left a mark that said, I'm not capable." That
Yeah.
that had been running as a pattern in her life. She hadn't trusted herself, didn't think people from something that you look back on and think, "Can it really have been that?" But for the 3-year-old, it was huge for her. That was, "Oh, yes, I'm so excited to help mum. I'm being trusted with a big girl job." It
Yeah.
seems like nothing, but to a 3-year-old, it was big. And this is
Yeah.
why we miss these things because we think it couldn't possibly be that, because we're looking
Yeah.
at it from an adult perspective and not the perspective of the child we were, which we can't access really without hypnosis. So,
Yeah.
so back to the quote unquote insignificant things that
Yeah.
happened in your life.
Well, right, and I would never call them insignificant, right? Or but it is it I wanted to bring up what you said, which is like these traumas that feel like traumas inside us that might not look like traumas on the outside.
Mm,
But yeah, so we identified through our hypnosis session three three significant moments in my early life, one being inside the womb and
mm,
two being in this um, like 6 months old kind of
mm,
range.
mhm,
And they're so there's so nothing on the outside. Nothing happened, right? And in fact, it was in the 6 month range, it was simply a need not being met because nobody knew it needed to be met. And that is like still one of the most painful things that I experience
yeah.
close to 40 years
You,
later.
you should know me. You should know me. If you
Don't you
love me,
know? Can't you see
you
what's happening inside me? Like, why don't you don't see that I need you? I need you.
mhm,
And and that I need you links back to the first, the womb experience, which the pain was really like realizing that I had to leave this
mm,
blissful experience
perfect. Again, yeah,
that
all my needs are met. I don't have to even ask. It's
and I
just
had
24/7
panicked.
room service. Just I
Yeah.
don't even need to say anything. My needs are met. Yeah,
Like, what is a need? You,
yeah.
well, there's no need.
Don't
We
need-
wouldn't even know what a need is in the womb because they're all just automatically being met. And at the realization that, oh, okay, it's time to come out into the world. I mean,
mhm,
I freaked out
mm,
and
mm,
had total panic. And the kind of wording that I'm working with now around it is like I'm terrified.
Mm,
I don't want to, don't make me do it on my own. I don't want to do it on my own. Right. And the remedy for that is you're never on your own. Right.
mm,
Like for me, that womb space was that feeling of total connection with God, universe, life.
mm.
And that's always available. That's
Still
always.
there, never left. You never left life.
So that's like the correction to
Yeah,
this
yeah.
wrong, to this false belief, and false belief that engendered such fear and panic that I've been carrying it all these years.
Mm, mm,
And
mm,
so the remedy for that is I'm not on my own.
mm.
I'm not on my
You're
own,
still
right?
connected. Yeah.
I can be. I can choose to remember.
Yes. And that's it. It's the conscious mind of choice that we have. Our subconscious stuff does run us quite strongly if we allow it to, if we're on autopilot. But if we say, wait, what
Yeah.
what am I going to be run by? Fear or love?
Yeah.
I'm going to choose differently, and that is a big part of it as well. And I'm
Sometimes
interested.
it's easy. Sometimes it's, especially in that luteal phase, especially when you're run down or whatever it may be, sometimes it takes a lot of work and help to
Yeah,
remember.
yeah. And I was just going to, while we're here in this womb area, um, what was it? Can you recall what it was like? Because it's like, oh yeah, and I went back to the womb, like just matter of fact. But it's actually like the first time I ever had a client go back to the womb in my early days, I would just my mouth was just agape. I went, is this? Can this really? And she in the session was completely matter of fact about it all and was just telling me, yep, this is what it is feeling like now, and I'm seeing this, and I'm feeling my mother's this and that. And but afterwards she went, what? Did I really? And she called her mum and said, I had these,
Yeah.
feelings, and her mum confirmed a lot of what she was talking about. So I'd like to, if you can recall it, what was your
I'm
experience?
happy to recall it because it's like it's actually the most blissful thing. And even you asking me to recall it brings tears to my eyes. So, yes, have
Mm-hmm.
to go there.
Oh, yeah.
Um, it felt like warmth, like total warmth, and very fluid and like pulsing kind of fluid movement,
Mhm.
and really like golden light,
Yeah, yeah.
and that feeling that we mentioned of com- complete, like the way I say it is what is a need?
Mhm.
There's no lack. Everything is provided as it's required or before. And so there's just this like really smooth, supported fullness to it. So it really feels like complete. It feels like bliss. It feels like golden light and warmth. And it's my favorite feeling in the world. Me, it's like it feels like that oneness with God and with life, and it feels like, and there are moments in life now, conscious life, where I have that feeling show up, and that can be like love connection. It can be spiritual connection. Those are usually the places that I experience it, and it's I have to be really conscious around it because it can trigger this kind of like addiction energy in me. Where like, that I have that, my favorite thing in the world. I want it. How do I keep that? How do I keep it? What do I do to keep that around? And so for me, there's this added layer of trying to integrate that in a daily way where I'm providing it. So I'm not reaching out to others to give
Mm,
me that essential life force, which is what it feels like.
yeah,
So that's ongoing work for me.
yeah. But what a thing to uncover. I always say you're not coming to heal PMDD. It's PMDD is the label for what you're experiencing. You've got to go. It's not when people try and fill out their forms, and I say, what would you like to work on? I'd like to heal. I'd like to work on PMDD, and I
Mhm.
have to go, no. It's what does it show you? What are
Yeah,
you? What are you being presented with? What are you facing? Because it's unique for every woman.
yeah,
Otherwise we could all just say it's PMDD. Well, there's a label we put on it, but everyone's experience is so unique, which is how I see, like, of course, the past pain has something to do with this because that's what we're seeing, kind of like a broken record. It's the same story, but it's being
mhm,
played out with different characters in our lives. You'll see
yeah.
the same theme and go, "Oh, that's the same theme." And can you speak to that? Can you, when I say it's the same theme that plays out, can you see how that birth story is being repeated or has been
Yeah,
repeated in your life, sort of
yeah,
as a yeah? And
absolutely.
how does that look? If you don't mind
Yeah.
sharing, too personal. Just
Well, I sort of hinted to it, associating that, like, sort of addiction or, like, love addiction feeling, right? There's this oneness feeling, this beautiful, blissful feeling, and there are different ways that it can come into my life, and certainly through romantic partnership, through, spiritual connection. I can't think of another one right now because those are the 2 obvious ones. And so I'll fill up on it, right? And I'm so good and I'm so full and everything's amazing. And then something happens in life that makes that fullness maybe not so full anymore,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So like in a romantic relationship in the beginning, you're all filled up on each other's love and it's amazing. And then life happens and hormones shift and you have to get used to things being different. And so that bliss, I'm not getting that like injection of bliss on a regular basis, right? And then it creates this what feels like an emptiness, and I'm trying to figure out how to get it met. And that's usually when I'll experience my PMDD symptom, right? Of having really intense reactions to not very intense things, right?
mm,
So having like a very emotional response, trauma response to something that should not on the outside evoke such a response. And that's
yeah,
when I can tell that this original wound is getting triggered and there's something really deep there that
mm,
wants to be tended to.
yeah. That's a really beautiful way to express it. Wants to be tended to. It's um, it's the mechanism that plays to bring our awareness back to it. To say this story is going to keep playing, and you will find ways. You'll find characters to play the drama out for you, so that you can
Yeah.
have the experience again, and maybe this time master it. This time. And you're always going to be spending your whole life trying to resolve the original story, to give I want the ending I didn't get. How do I play it out again so this time I get the ending where all my needs are met?
Yeah.
But we need to get underneath it and, like you said, resolve it, change the story, change the ending, change the meaning, so that the
Yeah.
ending you're seeking isn't in another person meeting your needs constantly, because it's not realistic. And
Right.
to realize my needs are already met. I'm already whole. I'm already complete. I never left life.
Hmm.
I was I'm still held in life now.
Yeah.
Um, and I know that's very easy to say, but to make that's the journey for you, which is a very unique story to you, and we've all got our own. And perhaps there are other stories too, because there can be several, but there will often be just this primary one that looks like it's very complicated. I often use the analogy of an upside down octopus, where
Hmm.
there's the core thing, but it's got all these legs on it that their
Yeah.
tentacles are through your whole life. Like, oh, there's this and this and this and this. Yeah, but if we slide down that leg, we're going to get to the head, which is um, my needs aren't met, or whatever
Yeah.
it is. I'm abandoned. The abandonment feeling.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So you had these sessions which uncovered this
Yeah.
very, far back there stuff that what I love about it is it's not the sort of thing that you can generally get to in talk therapy,
No.
um, or journaling, or it's, I did wake up in the middle of the night, like at 3 a.m., with a knowing, and I was repeating these words over and over again. And I didn't, it's like,
Yeah.
what am I even saying? I think awareness can come to us, but
It
again,
happens sometimes.
I was right in the alpha brainwave state anyway because I'd been dreaming, and I woke
Right.
up and I kept. So it's got to come through some sort of subconscious
Yeah.
awareness. So you had the sessions with me, and then of course I
Yeah.
make a recording to help instill the new understanding. But
Yeah.
what happened then?
And then I noticed within a month, right? Because that's how we're measuring with PMDD. It's like, well, when the next cycle comes, how am I? And I would say that by the time it was luteal time again, um, it was easier.
Mm,
And within a few months after that, I felt much more restored. Um,
mm,
so I really experienced a pretty immediate shift.
mm,
And I would say, in addition to just feeling better because things shifted, also I felt so supported in having some knowledge, like having some understanding of what was going on, made it
mm.
so much easier to deal with things when they came up because I had context for it. It wasn't such a mystery.
Yeah, you can sort of ask questions like, "What am I making this mean?
Yeah,
It's the story I'm telling myself. Is
yeah,
that true, or is that the past story playing out? What do I already know about this? Let me remember my
yeah,
learnings and be able to bring that instead of just being completely hijacked by the emotional response to what's happening that you think is the reason you're upset, but you've got no idea there's something way back there that you had no access to, you know, that was being
yeah,
triggered. And that knowledge and like, oh, this is baby Lizzie. I've got to come to her now and let her know she's safe, she's loved, she's connected, she's held, her needs are met. I'm going to meet her needs. I'm here.
yeah,
I'm able to do that for that part of myself. I'm connected within me. No one can meet my needs better than I can because I hear and feel and understand myself better than anyone. These sorts of things, which I would have put into your recording to help
yeah,
solidify. Hey, I'm already whole, and my needs
yeah,
are. I can get my needs met.
yeah.
Um,
I love what you just said, that nobody could possibly meet my needs better than me. And I wanna say that out loud to myself so I remember to write it down later. That, like, actually, how could anybody else possibly understand how to meet them?
Yeah, I mean, who knows you better than you?
Yeah.
Nobody. And of course, when you're in the womb, it feels like, well, this is the ultimate. But you're not that little infant anymore. You can't climb back into your mum's tummy now.
No.
Feed me. You wouldn't want to, right? And that's the other important thing to realize. Even if, like, if you as the grown woman you are now had the choice to climb back and plug into an umbilical cord,
No, thank
you'd
you.
probably say, "Well, no, I've got a life to live out here. I want to be born. I want to be here."
Yeah.
Um, yeah, yeah. So what a ride, though, right? Like, what the hell is this that we are
Yeah.
experiencing? And each of us, like, think how rich and your world is. So's mine. And then every person you pass on the street, and there's billions of us, and we've all got this stuff going on. This
Mm.
whole rich experience with and all these
Yeah.
memories and beliefs, and but also intuition and inner guidance and faith and love and whoa, what a ride this is to be
Oh,
alive.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah. So I had a very kind of smooth experience, I would say, after that for quite a while. And I did, minimize maybe my risk a little bit. I wasn't dating anybody. I was, I wasn't triggering, but that's not true. I had other things happen in my life that absolutely triggered similar wounds. And I really was quite strong and resilient. And that was, I worked with you in, I think, April of 2021. And so I had a
yeah,
few really I, years where I would say I healed it.
yeah,
And, careful, don't say that.
yeah. We
But it
have
felt
to.
that way.
We still have to be, because the thing about women who end up with what we call PMDD, the label of it, is that we're highly creative, we're highly sensitive, generally, we're empathetic, we feel our inner world very deeply.
Yeah.
Um, and so we were talking before we hit record, about how important it is to make sure that we are nourished and looked after and that our stress levels are under control. Because if we push and push and push and deplete ourselves, our bodies are going to push back,
Yeah.
in the form of what we call PMDD symptoms, that just sort of scream at you and say, "Hey," and you know what? I'm just realizing for you, your body's saying, "Lizzie, you're not meeting my needs." Like, isn't that what you were getting? Didn't it? That's because you promised, "I'm here. I've got you. I'm here, babies. Lizzie, I hear you. I feel you. I see you. I understand you." And then you come to a point in your life where, and we all, I mean, not all, but so many of us in this very masculine way of life, because it's not been set up for the female cycle the way that the general workday is, and
Mm-mm.
um, we just push ourselves. And then the way women's liberation is great and all, except we didn't really liberate ourselves. We just made double the workload, because now the economy requires that two partners are working to pay for just a very basic standard of living. I mean, it's really, really tough now. Back 50 years ago, you only needed one working partner,
Yeah.
and the other one could be the stay-at-home mum, and that was fine. There was enough money for that. We could no, most people can't afford to do that now.
I was
So,
thinking about this morning that, oh, it's so great that anybody can do anything.
mm,
Anybody of any gender can choose to pave their way in the world, and yet I would love the option to just be as feminine as I need to be to nourish the being that I am, you
yeah.
know?
And I think a shift is coming, not necessarily top down, but I think we as women
Yeah,
ourselves are realizing, listen, I'm a woman, I'm not a man, and I can't be both. And I have feminine attributes, and I'm built to appreciate and receive and love and nurture and create beauty. And so much of that gets stamped out when we need to hustle and grind and earn and push through. And I think our bodies let us know that,
yeah,
in a big way, which, so that's happened to you recently,
yeah,
you would say? Yeah.
yeah. So I'll give sort of a little timeline, which is to say that I was diagnosed with PMDD in 2010.
Mhm.
And by 2013, forgot that it existed. Right? Like things happened, changed in my life and my lifestyle. Specifically, I can say now I went from a sympathetic dominant nervous system to a parasympathetic dominant nervous system. I had a life that I was much more in command of. I had more freedom. I felt more fluid in my daily life. And
Mm,
that's the big difference I can um, attribute
mm,
at
mhm,
that time. So from 2012, 2013 until 2020, I didn't, PMDD was not on my radar at all.
Mhm,
And
mhm,
in 2020, I had a difficult breakup that really brought up every abandonment wound
mm,
and incident ever. So it wasn't just the breakup, it brought up so much stuff with my parents that, thank goodness, they're amazing and talked through everything with me. And we really worked through a lot. And there was a lot of healing there. What a blessing that that got to happen.
mhm,
But I was still having a really, really difficult time depression wise.
mhm,
And I had this idea to open a store. And so I had been living this really like on my own schedule all the time lifestyle for years.
mhm,
And then I decided I was opening a store. So exciting. And I
mhm.
signed the lease and I opened the store in 2 weeks. Oh my gosh. Wow. What a hustler.
Yeah.
And my stress was through the roof on a
Mhm,
daily basis without respite.
mm,
And I, the ex from that recent breakup was a wonderful supportive friend after our breakup. And he witnessed me having a kind of breakdown.
mm,
And he said to me, "This, I have to tell you, like, this isn't you. There's something wrong. Something's going on." And it was then, like, I think he mentioned brain chemistry. And it was
mhm,
then that I started to piece it together and remembered PMDD and
mm.
was able to trace sort of my biggest depressive episodes and see that they were related to my luteal phase. And I started to piece it together. And I was like, oh man, this
Yeah.
again.
Mm,
Okay, fine. But I've learned so much. I've been on a path of really holistic and spiritual and psychological, like healing and awareness. And I am going to figure this out. Like, I'm going to figure out what's really going on here and solve it from the inside out. Medication's fine if you want it. I don't want it. I want to sort this out another way.
yeah.
And so I went into heavy research mode and I learned a lot about the nervous system. I learned more about nutrition. And so I was approaching it from this,
Holistic, yeah.
yeah, I wanted to figure that out. And then I found you and I went, ah, yes, this is the missing piece, the trauma. This makes so much sense. Things shifted. So that was 2021. So fast forward to like a few weeks ago. In 2025, end of 2024.
Mm,
And I realized, oh my gosh, I'm having a flare up. This is PMDD. This is what's happening right now.
it feels like, yeah. Mhm.
And the similarities between what happened the last time in 2020 and what happened this time in 2024 helped to give me a kind of formula to understand what makes this flare up in me.
Mm,
And so the last time in 2020, I was opening my store and had that high level of stress without respite over a long period of time. I mean, I
mm,
said it took 2 weeks to open the store, but of course, then I'm in this new lifestyle. So, extended period of stress, abandonment wound coming up left and right all the time, breakup, parents, all the things. It's just up. And that seemed to catapult me into this place where I felt I had no control over my emotional response. And it was very intense and very deep. So, fast forward to 2024, I'm closing my store.
mm, mhm,
And for the last year, I've been without actually my own home. The end of 2023, I gave up the house in the town I'd been living in, and I spent the next year of 2024 part time living in my family's home, part time going up to where my store was, and staying with friends. And so, talk about no respite. Even
mm,
though I had places that were very comfortable for me to be, I was never in my own space, in my own rhythm. I was
yeah.
never doing that deep recovery.
Mm,
And I met the most amazing. love of my life, and everything was incredible, and we were moving forward, and I'm full, full, full. And the stress is getting to me, and I'm closing the store, and everything's shifting, and where am I going to live? And our
Mm-hmm.
relationship starts
Perfect storm
shifting.
brewing. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Yeah.
And I just am having nonstop, deep, deep triggered responses to things that are tiny, innocuous, sometimes ridiculously silly, tiny, tiny things that are sending me into deep, deep, deep fear,
Mm.
that big trauma response. And it took me a while to realize what was really happening and to recognize the role that my nervous system plays in it, because the kind of simplified medical definition that we get, right, is that the brain's having an abnormal response to a normal hormonal shift. So it's not that
Mm.
there's something wrong with your hormones, it's that your brain's responding differently.
Mhm.
And for me, it felt like that shift in my brain was happening as a response to, or as a result of, this nervous system depletion.
Yeah.
And it just put me in a position where I wasn't resourced and resilient enough to be able to approach what was coming at me in a way that was sustainable and like nurtured and full. I was empty, and I was resorting to that that deep response.
Yeah. That's really well explained. Um, so we have to be aware of the things. Keep ourselves, and the word for you, it's, you've used it a lot, is respite, which ties back to the original story of the perfect respite of the womb. And you said,
Yeah.
I came out of my own rhythm. You used your hands, you did the same movement that you
Mm.
used when you were
Oh,
describing what it was like in the womb with that rhythm. So you can just see it's the same. I didn't have my own, well, I hadn't created my own beautiful womb
yeah.
in my life, and so the message is quite clear.
Mm.
Hey, you've got to make sure you're nourished. You've got to make sure your needs are met. And that has to come first. You
Yeah.
can't put yourself second to everything else. And geez, aren't we good at it as women? Um, because it'll
Mm.
bite you. It'll bite you later. It'll allow a certain amount, and then it'll say that's enough. Enough is enough.
Yeah.
Um, and it's just a matter of working with that, because you'll be so much more robust and resilient. You'll be able to handle these things, but you can't do it from a depleted space, because what do you where's the resilience, where's the mattress, where's the myelin sheath around the nerves? It's been worn down to nothing, and now it's just, yeah, it's just going to hurt. So
Yeah.
well, thank you so much for sharing this story, and how important it is to nurture ourselves, and especially in your case, because nurture, and there is no need, and that's your story, and everyone's got their own unique story, but we need to uncover the story first, so we know what it is we're sort of working with, I suppose.
Yes.
I could talk with you
Doing that
all,
with you
all
was, I know we have to go.
no, I know, I've got some things coming up in a minute, but I could talk with you forever about this. It's such a fascinating subject. Yeah, sorry, what were you going to say?
Just that those explorations through regression, through hypnosis with you, uncovered for me these keys that I've been able to come back to and work with through these different phases as they are revealed in my life in different ways. It's always coming back to these pieces. So I'm very grateful for that work and for having that. It's a gift, and I just don't know where I'd be without it.
So great. And there may be a flare up. I've had moments where I've had a flare up, but because I have the tools and the understanding, I know how to get to the bottom of it and do what's required to tend to the wound. And it's not something that, like, oh, next month and next month and next month and next month anymore. because I know what to do now. And I think you'll probably experience the same, that this is going to be tended to and addressed, and you'll get the message, because it's just a message.
Yeah.
Look after me, prioritize me, fill my needs.
Yeah.
That's what you're being called and asked to do. And I think you've got that message. So that's
Mm.
perfect.
Thank you so
So
much.
thanks, Lizzie.
Thank you so much for joining me on Women Who Heal. If you found this episode helpful, I'd love it if you could take a moment to rate and review the podcast. Your support helps us reach more women who might need this message of hope and healing. And don't forget to share this episode with anyone who could benefit from it, a friend, a sister, or someone in your community. You can follow me on Instagram at Natalie Ryan Hebert and at the Red Tent PMDD. I'd love to hear your thoughts and connect with you there.